Super 6 World Boxing Classic has been a roller coaster for Carl Froch. First, the exhilaration of a closely contested title defense in front of his hometown fans. Then, the shock of losing an all-out war to Mikkel Kessler in Denmark. Followed by the surprising domination of Arthur Abraham in Finland to recapture the WBC belt. Now, another tournament twist awaits. At 42, and in a new weight division, Glenn Johnson entered the tournament as an unexpected replacement. A powerful knockout of Alan Green catapulted the former world champion into the semifinals. Motivated and reinvigorated, Johnson is ready to add one more title to his impressive resume. Tonight, each man faces the most important fight of his career, aiming for one more challenge, the right to meet undefeated WBA titleist Andre Ward for the Super 6 World Boxing Classic Championship.
Atlantic City is a boxing town, with the first major fight held here 80 years ago. Boardwalk Hall has more recently played host to ring superstars such as Mike Tyson, George Foreman, Evander Holyfield, the great Floyd Mayweather Jr., and Arturo Gatti. And tonight, two more highly touted fighters will add their names to that impressive list. As we look at the Super 6 World Boxing Classic tournament brackets, we'll complete the finals matchup as WBC super middleweight champion Carl Froch defends his belt against Glenn Johnson. Froch has fought with both skill and will. He made the semifinals by winning 2 of his 3 bouts by decision. Glenn Johnson was a surprise addition to this tournament. The veteran dropped down in weight from light heavyweight and qualified for the semifinals by knocking out Alan Green. And awaiting tonight's winner, the undefeated Andre Ward. Hello again, everybody. Gus Johnson here in Atlantic City. Tonight, we complete the semifinal round of the Super 6 World Boxing Classic. The tournament has given us a little bit of everything: knockouts, brawls, upsets, and controversy. What type of drama will Froch and Johnson produce tonight? Well, we'll soon find out. For a recap of the tournament so far and a preview of tonight, let's go to my teammates ringside, Al Bernstein and Antonio Tarver.
Thank you very much, Gus. Well, we'll start out by taking a look back at the semifinals. The first one that created Andre Ward as the winner and the opponent for the fighter that wins this evening. It was a quintessential Andre Ward performance with combinations, great boxing skill. And Antonio, it's almost hard now for us to fathom a time at the beginning of this tournament when the odds were 15-1 against Ward winning this tournament.
Yeah, and you know, if there's any one fighter that has benefited the most from the Super 6, it's Andre Ward. What has he done? He's won a championship, and he's on everybody pound-for-pound list. This guy not only won, but he dominated every fight thus far. And I can't think of 2 to 3 rounds that he's lost in any of those fights. So for Andre Ward, he's put his signature on this tournament, and he's one fight away from claiming it all.
Yeah, there's no question about that. It's been an amazing performance by Andre Ward. And, you know, when we look at the how these fighters got here, the fighters for this evening's fight, Glenn Johnson and Carl Froch, been very different roads for them. Glenn Johnson, of course, dropping down from 168, only had the one tournament fight against Alan Green, a fighter he was very familiar with, and he won that fight and won it handily. A bigger challenge tonight against Froch. Now, for Carl Froch, his road here, as noted, worked through a lot of great fighters, Pascal and Taylor before the tournament, and then the 3 fights chronicled in this tournament. You went through a period where you fought Glenn Johnson twice and Roy Jones Jr. 3 times right in a row, so you know what it's like to run the gauntlet.
Sometimes those tough fights make you or break you, and it seems like Carl Froch has been made into a champion, made into one of those solid fighters that you can't underestimate at any given time. He's now has become better. I see him doing things subtly now that I didn't think he had in him before. And tonight, it gets tough for both of these fighters. We're going to see who will be tested. And it's going to be a heck of a fight. I can't wait. I'm excited about it, Al.
We're both excited. We think it's going to be a great night of boxing. Let's go back to Gus Johnson.
All right, Al. WBA super middleweight champion Andre Ward has been the most consistent performer in the Super 6, advancing from long shot to tournament favorite. Ward's also the only original Super Sixer to go unbeaten. And at the start of this tournament, Ward was relatively untested, but as he's shown, he was also ready to break out.
Please welcome the undefeated challenger, Andre Ward.
Tonight, we'll see if Ward has the fortitude to take the title from Kessler.
Who would have thought Andre Ward would be pitching a shutout? This is a whole different Andre Ward.
The new champion, Andre Ward.
I don't think people understand what it took to get here. I've been at it since I've been 9 years old. This is my opportunity to make my mark.
He is just beating the brakes off Green now. Andre Ward, the champ, and he's showing why tonight.
Super 6 afforded me the opportunity to fight one elite fighter right after another to prove my worth.
So Arthur Abraham, Andre Ward fighting for a place in the Super 6 World Boxing Classic final. From Andre Ward, superior boxing skill.
He's just beating him at every facet of the game right now.
The WBA super middleweight champion of the world.
You never count Glenn Johnson out. Carl Froch is a warrior, and I'm just looking forward to the winner in the final, baby.
My pleasure to introduce to you WBA world champion, undefeated, Andre, son of God Ward. And champ, first of all, thank you very much for joining us. And as you look for the winner of tonight's fight, could you give us an idea of your impressions of the Super 6 thus far?
Well, the Super 6 as a whole, you had 3 Americans, you had 3 Europeans who were originally in the tournament. We all had something to prove. We all wanted to come in and make our mark and answer maybe even questions that were asked about us previously. The Super 6, in the midst of, letdowns and fallouts, it's still standing strong. And what I want to do is just make sure that I finish strong as we're heading to the grand finale.
So here, as we get ready to watch Froch and Glenn Johnson, and this may be a difficult question for you, who would you rather fight and who do you favor tonight?
Well, I don't know if I favor anyone. I think the fans want to see Froch and Ward. But a fight of this magnitude, fighters of this caliber, it's almost a miss to pick a clear-cut winner. Both guys are well prepared, and it all boils down on who gets it done when those lights get turned on.
I see, champ, when your career is over, you will be running for public office in Oakland. Time now to check out our text message poll for this evening. Who would be the tougher opponent for Andre Ward? Text 1 for Carl Froch, text 2 for Glenn Johnson. Send your response to us here at shows. That's 74699. Standard text messaging rates apply. We'll share those results later and get Andre's reaction to our poll. But first, more news from the super middleweight division. Former WBA champion Mikkel Kessler was in the thick of the Super 6 tournament when he pulled out with an eye injury. Kessler hasn't fought in 14 months, and earlier today, he returned to the ring in the city of his birth, Copenhagen, Denmark. Kessler was matched with France's Mehdi Bouadla. This is how Al Bernstein and Antonio Tarver and I called the fight.
Okay, time. Come on.
Round 1 scheduled for 12 in the super middleweight division. It's the return of the Viking warrior, Mikkel Kessler, who has been away from the ring for 14 months after suffering an eye injury. He's taking on Mehdi Bouadla, young man right outside of Paris, France. So we are ready for the return of Mikkel Kessler here in Copenhagen.
Well, they expected Bouadla, who has moved up from the middleweight division, to be aggressive and come in right away, and that's exactly what he has done, and he's going to force Mikkel Kessler to fight in the first round.
And that's very smart on his part because, you know, he's in a fight right now that he has nothing to lose. He's going to have to take those risks that normally he wouldn't take for an opportunity to upset Mikkel Kessler.
Kessler suffering a severe eye injury. According to his doctors, it was weakness of the muscle in the left eye, which forced him to step away from boxing for 14 months. He started sparring once again in April. What's going through his mind right now as he returns to the ring?
You know, right now, you know, he needs to just find his rhythm. It's very important that he get into his rhythm and he show this guy that he is the top-notch fighter. He has to stay in the Eiffel Tower, meaning he can't afford to fight down to this guy's level.
Meanwhile, Mehdi Bouadla, what kind of fighter do we see? Is he an opponent, or can he seriously challenge Mikkel Kessler?
Well, you know, he is a good middleweight who's going to fight for the middleweight championship against Sylvester, one of the champions. We see already in this fight that the Bouadla jab is excellent, and he is finding a home for it against Kessler. He will give Kessler a good fight for however long this lasts.
Mehdi Bouadla, coming off an 8-round unanimous decision over Pavel's Lotas on January 29th. He's won 11 consecutive fights. And Kessler telling us he was concerned about headbutts and elbows coming into the fight as he prepares to take on the smaller, advancing Bouadla.
Good left hook by Kessler. It's a punch he wants to use more in this fight. Part of the reason, the concern, obviously, Kessler made it clear, I have everything to lose in this fight because he wants to get back to a big match, and Bouadla is very aggressive here in round one.
Yeah, Mehdi, that jab is really finding a home early, and I'm surprised because Kessler is the fighter that normally has that dominating jab, and this guy is shorter, so that's surprising.
Good point.
Kessler using his hook early on in this fight, and he suffered 2 severe eye injuries in his last 2 fights. He was cut over both eyes against Andre Ward. He was cut over his left eye in his last fight, a unanimous decision 14 months ago against Carl Froch. And that's the end of the first round.
Good first round, too. Interesting.
Jimmy Montoya in the corner of Mikkel Kessler for the second time as he replaced his longtime trainer.
Richard Olson, who took him as a youngster at age 13. Now, Jimmy was in the corner for many years. Now is the lead trainer.
When he's coming in hard, and come back with that hook. Now, once in a while, I want you to jab, step to the side, and let it go. Uppercut, too. You need it. You're doing right. You're doing okay. But I want you to keep doing it. A little grease.
Tell me if you want more water.
Okay.
You're doing good.
Hein? Attention, il a une grosse frappe. Il faut savoir céder du terrain, d'accord?
The left hand underneath by Kessler, trying to get that left hook in. And the jab a little short, and a good indication.
Round 2 scheduled for 12 in the super middleweight division. Mikkel Kessler, former WBA and WBC super middleweight champion, 3-time champion. He's also the WBC Emeritus super middleweight title holder. What does that mean, Adam?
That means when he comes back, he would be ranked in a position where he could fight for the title immediately. Don't ask me to explain why that's the case, because I can't. That and foreign policy have me stumped.
Kessler putting his punches together.
I just want to point out that Mehdi has a great defense, man. He's catching a lot of those punches on the gloves, and you know, Kessler's not getting through right now.
Kessler, the bigger man, backing up, and as you mentioned, Antonio, Bouadla using his jab.
Yeah, right there you saw he caught a punch and he came through with that jab. I mean, and that's important for a shorter fighter to not abandon the jab because, you know, it's sometimes with fighters we feel because we're shorter that we can't have an effective jab.
The great Gil Clancy, who trained Emil Griffith, who's shorter than most fighters, said a jab is about timing as much as it is length.
Yes, it is.
Bouadla studied, I'm sorry, Gus, Bouadla really studied Kessler. He said, I know everything about him except when he pays his taxes. And you know what? He's showing us a little bit of that now.
Bouadla doing his due diligence. He works as the bodyguard for the mayor of his town, which is about 8 miles outside of Paris, Aulnay-sous-Bois. And hopefully I get points for saying that name correctly. I hope I said it correctly.
Big points. This is a very good fight. You know, this first round and a half has provided a lot of action and some really good technique by both fighters.
Come on.
56 seconds remaining in the second round, scheduled for 12 in the super middleweight division. Mikkel Kessler, the former champion, returning to the ring after the eye injury, which did not require surgery. It required rest. And he has big hopes. Nice left hook there by Bouadla.
Over an uppercut that came from too far back. Bouadla's a solid fighter, Antonio.
Yeah, I mean, I'm impressed with his defense. I mean, and sometimes that, we don't get enough credit for that.
Yep.
But you got to watch. This guy's blocking most of those shots.
He's winning round 2, in my opinion.
Bouadla really impressed with the sparring partners that he brought into his camp. Julian Marie Saint, Triple French champion. Hugo Kaspersky, current WBC and WBO Youth World Champion, ranked number 15. And you can tell that the Frenchman is well prepared. So coming up next, the Super 6 World Boxing Classic semifinal. The winner to take on Andre Ward for the championship trophy with 2 world title belts on the line. And there's the Cobra entering the building. Carl Froch, he has fought some great fighters. Jean Pascal, Jermaine Taylor, Andre Durrell, Kessler, Abraham, and now maybe the toughest fight to date as he takes on this man, 42-year-old Glenn Johnson. Here's a man that was on the outside looking out. They asked him to move down in weight. He did. He fought Alan Green, knocked him out, and now in the semifinal with the chance not only to advance tonight to the final, but also win a world championship. Froch, Johnson, semifinal, Super 6 World Boxing Classic coming up next from AC. Round 3, scheduled for 12. In the super middleweight division, Mehdi Bouadla, the Frenchman, in the black and red trunks. Mikkel Kessler from Copenhagen, also in black and red, the taller fighter. And ring rust is a big question mark for Mikkel Kessler, Antonio Tarver.
Yeah, you know, I think more so than the injuries. Mikkel Kessler has had 2 back-to-back grueling, tough fights. I mean, Andre Ward didn't come back with Carl Froch. He needed rest. Very bad he needed rest to get, you know, recuperated from those tough fights.
But as you return, Al, when it comes to ring rust, what are the things that leave you when you leave the ring and have to come back with experience like we're seeing tonight?
Well, a lot of it, sometimes it's timing. Oh, big right hand by Bouadla. Wow.
Beautiful right hand by Kessler, a looping right hand that we saw him working on with Montoya in the locker room before the fight.
And that was a counter right hand. It came, he caught a punch, and he fired right back over top. It was a punch he didn't see. Delayed reaction.
And Bouadla, eyes wide open, bleeding from his nose, trying to clear his head, buying time right here as his mouthpiece came out. 1:31 to go in the 3rd round.
Oh, they took a point away for the mouthpiece activity.
But at this point, Bouadla will take it.
Yes.
To clear his head.
He's still on shaky ground. It's important Kessler right now dig a couple good shots to the body.
He heard you. And you know, that overhand right's been a monstrous weapon of Kessler's.
Kessler punches and bunches, another overhand right. Bouadla backing up, trying to clear his head on wobbly legs.
Bouadla is not by nature a boxer either, so this is strange territory for him to have to move backward.
Bouadla in major trouble, under 50 seconds to go. Kessler looking for that one big shot. Right hand, left hook connecting for the former champion.
Well, if there's any doubt, Kessler is sharp. He's razor sharp tonight. He's looked good. And hopefully he can get this over with and finish with the dramatic ending.
Uppercut. And Kessler backs up. You got to be careful if you're Kessler right here, don't you, Antonio?
Well, you know, I don't know if Bouadla have the power to really hurt Kessler, but he just needs to not exert himself and blow out all of his energy right now trying to finish.
6 seconds to go. Kessler dropping Mehdi Bouadla in the 3rd round. Nice work here by Mikkel Kessler to end the round. And they continue to fight. Now they've gone beyond 3 minutes. And the bell finally sounds.
I've had that happen before.
It was a bonus.
Tu l'as jeté pour rien. Ça sert à rien ce que tu fais de jeter le protège-dents. C'est le Soviet à 2 balles, ça. Le gobelet, il grise pas.
And after the knockdown, guys, Bouadla had 27 seconds to get himself together.
And here's where he spit his mouthpiece out. It was pretty blatant that a point was deducted. And this is where Mikkel Kessler came after him after the knockdown, trying to end this fight. See, Bouadla's still landing counter punches or throwing them and still trying to give head movement, so he kept his wits about him.
Yeah, I felt that Kessler should have did much better work downstairs. And maybe he could have, you know, weakened this guy enough to get him out of there.
There's the overhand right that knocked Bouadla down, a punch that Kessler has used very effectively in this fight. It was after Bouadla had landed his own right hand.
And Al, is that overhand right, that can-opening right, is that something new from Kessler?
He really is. Normally he throws a straight right hand. So I think they decided that would work in this fight.
And I think that's good on their game plan because they knew this guy was shorter and he'll be reaching. It's working to perfection so far.
Round 4, scheduled for 12.
Give Bouadla credit. He got through that round. He comes out attacking here. And his whole mission tonight was, I want to raise my stock as a fighter. Let me tell you something. He's doing it against a 168-pounder, even though he's been dropped.
Another big looping right hand by Kessler. And now Mikkel really sitting down on his punches, and it's all because he's established that jab early.
And I like what I see because this guy came in fighting an unknown prospect, and he's not fighting down to his level. He's showing this guy that he's going to have to step his game up if he plans on beating me tonight.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, the combinations of Kessler are very good. And only, as you pointed out, Bouadla's defense is why he missed some of those punches early.
Bouadla swinging wildly early on in the first 2 rounds. Bouadla really establishing his jab. It worked for him. At some point, it seemed like it was almost an annoyance to Kessler. But now Kessler, since the beginning of the 3rd round when he dropped Bouadla, has really looked crisp and sharp. Not a lot of ring rust, guys.
No, and you know, he's a veteran, man. He's a 3-time world champion. I mean, I didn't expect anything less from Kessler. You know, he's a guy that trains hard, comes prepared, and he's on top of his game. Like I said, again.
And he told us that during that 14 months when he was off, he gained 5 pounds total. I tend to believe him.
And you know what? That in itself speaks volumes of this guy's dedication and commitment to the sport, because it don't take me but about a month.
It takes me 4 days to gain 5 pounds. So. Wow, that's a beautiful uppercut by Kessler. And Bouadla taking some big shots in this round. Kessler finding holds and says, you know, I got to stop punching for a second.
Bouadla is the kind of fighter that will go from 160 to 168. So he's stepping up in weight to fight the taller Kessler. Bouadla listed at 5'9", Kessler 6'1.5". And he's doing a terrific job, Mehdi Bouadla, of giving Kessler an opportunity to get some work in.
Oh yeah, you know, and you know, this is the type of work that Kessler needs if he's going to continue to be a force in the super middleweight division. I mean, this guy is not going to lay down. Kessler's going to have to earn this knockout, and that's what he needed tonight.
And what's the Jimmy Montoya effect on Kessler? What have you seen?
He likes Jimmy Montoya. Ooh. Oh my!
Beautiful right hand by Kessler as he stepped back and shot it, and Bouadla is down for the 2nd time. And the round ending once again. Bouadla waddles back to his corner. And Al, you were talking about the Montoya effect on Kessler.
Well, as we see Jimmy going into the corner, now, of course, Bouadla, who's got to get past a very rough patch. Montoya, what he brings to the corner is a coolness under fire. That's what Kessler said. He likes that. Jimmy Montoya, a veteran. And here's where the overhand right landed again for Mikkel Kessler. Sent Bouadla down. A little new weapon in the arsenal.
Antonio, when you look at Mikkel Kessler, does he look slicker? We saw him in his last fight against Frotch. Look at some of the things that he's doing.
Well, let's not be mistaken. Now, he's not fighting at that level. He's not fighting at Andre Ward or Carl Frotch level. But this is the type of work that it's going to take for him to come back and have the confidence to once again claim that championship.
We're seeing variations of the right hand, the right cross, the can opener, as well as a hooking right hand from Mikkel Kessler. 5th round scheduled for 12. The former champion Mikkel Kessler fighting in his hometown, Copenhagen. Denmark is the taller fighter.
And what I'm impressed with the most is that he's not rushing it. He's not trying hard. He's just working, and that's a beautiful thing.
And I think the other important thing about this is the amount of punches being thrown, the crispness. He's a man that suffered a lot of injuries, 2 fractures in his hands, an operation on the left elbow, 2 disc problems in his back. There are a lot of aches and pains for Mikkel Kessler, but he's showing himself to be sharp.
And when he was off, he had a lot of time to do some soul searching. As a matter of fact, Al, his family wanted him to quit, his mother and his sister, but he had another idea.
He said, I will decide. I love my mother and my sister, but I'll decide when I quit. Went to Thailand with a friend and said I needed to clear my head from boxing and come back with focus. He's done that, obviously. Bouadla's trying desperately to land those overhand rights again. The jab is gone from Bouadla, and it stopped about 2.5 rounds ago. And that's been a big problem for him.
And one reason, Antonio, that jab may have stopped because Kessler's doing a nice job catching him with that looping right hand off Bouadla's jab.
Yeah, because he's not sticking in there with that jab. He's not snapping it, but he's in close right now, and he's doing some good work. Yeah. But again, he's not on balance. It's all arm punches. He got to get his body up under him rather than just reaching out with an arm.
And just as you said that, a perfect example of the right hand that missed. Just a point, although this is such a lopsided decision, round 3 would be a 10-7 round for Kessler because the extra point was taken away for spitting the mouthpiece out. So that Bouadla's in a huge hole right now.
If I had anything that I would like to see Kessler work more on, that would be the body work right now. He has a wounded duck in front of him, and get that body in there in order to weaken this guy. So when you do go back up top, he won't have it.
43 seconds remaining in the 5th round. Kessler very active. Punches and bunches. Oh, ripping with the uppercut. Followed by the left hook. Bouadla breathing out of his mouth. Getting wilder and wilder as the round goes on. And Kessler goes back to that stiff jab. Right hand. Backs up Bouadla. Kessler drops him again. Beautiful work.
Yeah, that looked like a knockdown.
I think they won't call that a knockdown because Bouadla was throwing the left hook when he went down.
Blood coming out of the nose of Bouadla. 10 seconds to go. Kessler jumps on him again. And it looks like Mikkel Kessler's vision is perfect.
Listen, you want to relax a little on this one? Yeah. I want you to move around on circles. Come in through the little turn. So, okay. Rub his arms. Okay. Listen to me. All you gotta do, you're getting too much head. Throw the bomb to the head, fine, but I want somebody.
Regarde là ici, la main gauche. D'accord? Bien sûr, tu l'as fait du mal. Tu joues? Colle tes mains.
Kessler landing the right hand, as you pointed out, Gus, in variations. This wasn't called a knockdown. It was not officially ruled a knockdown, even though Kessler had been landing a lot of punches because Bouadla threw that left hook. See the right getting in so effectively. The combination punch of Kessler very effective.
Sixth round, scheduled for 12. In the super middleweight division, it's the return of Mikkel Kessler, who has been gone for 14 months because of an eye injury. Weakness of the muscle in the left eye. It did not require surgery, although in his last two fights against Andre Ward and Carl Froch, he suffered severe cuts over both eyes against Ward and over the left eye against Carl Froch.
Now, Bouadla has never been past the 9th round. He has a TKO win in the 9th. He has never been past that point, so he's taken a lot of punishment, and as this fight wears on, you have to wonder if he can get to the 12-round mark.
And look at the movement. Jimmy Montoya telling Kessler on the stool between rounds, I want you to move in a circle and go to the body. Antonio, I think he heard you.
But he's not going to the body, but I cannot complain with his performance. I mean, it's hard to go to the body when a guy's head is right there looking at you.
I'm going to quote you. It's hard to please Antonio Tarver. Let no one question Bouadla's toughness. He has taken some monstrous punches from a good 168-pound puncher. And, of course, Bouadla's normally a middleweight, so...
There's a left hook to the body, and we talked to Kessler on a conference call. He told you, Antonio, that he wants to get some rounds. He doesn't want to take too many chances because that could be dangerous, but he really wants to take some time and have a chance to put some work in.
Yeah, because, you know, that body shot hurt him, and that was a perfect... Now he might get him out of there because the body weakens these guys. They can't take it.
Behind the elbow with the left hook. 1:08 to go. Bouadla looks like he's ready to go. Bleeding. Left hook, and he drops him for the third time. Bouadla with a minute left. Take his time. Blood pouring out of his nose. And the body shots paying major dividends for the Viking Warrior.
And no one could blame Bouadla if he doesn't go on. There's those body shots Antonio talked about.
And he goes down once again.
Hey, you can take those chin shots all day.
That's it. Mikkel Kessler. Very impressive return to the ring after a 14-month layoff. He may be ready to fight for that title in his next fight.
You know, Bouadla, while Antonio is correct, certainly not on the level, though he is ranked in the top 10 by 2 organizations at 168 pounds, still he is a good fighter, and he's a fighter with a lot of toughness who, as you pointed out, gave Kessler a chance to shine.
Yeah, and again, when you look at his resume, he don't have anybody on his resume that resembles a Mikkel Kessler, so this was a learning experience for the young guy, and, you know, this fight he can learn from and become better, but I like Kessler. They took those body shots to get this guy out of there because one time he started headhunting, but his trainer told him he has to go to the body. You can take those chin punches all day, but when you're getting cracked downstairs, it's a different ball game.
So next for Kessler, Lucien Boutte is out there, Carl Froch, Andre Ward, Glenn Johnson, depending on what happens over the next few weeks and few months, who do we see him against?
I think they're pointing toward the Boutte fight, certainly. We saw him in Montreal for the Boutte fight. I think they think that's an interesting international fight. Whether they can make it, I don't know. And it would be an interesting matchup.
And I agree with you when you look at all those names that you mentioned. The guys like Andre Ward, the guys like Carl Froch, they give him some trouble because they're moving boxer punchers. But guys like Boutte, he's going to sit right there. He's going to be there for Mikkel to get work out.
And as we look at this ending of this fight, a reminder that Mikkel Kessler and Bouadla, appreciative crowd for Bouadla's effort, and he's being a sportsman to Kessler. Kessler withdrew from the Super 6 tournament because of that injury, so that was part of the reason why that's the reason we haven't seen him.
Mikkel Kessler, and on a scale of 1 to 10, as you take a look at his sister, Lenina, mom in attendance as well, and Patricia, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you give Mikkel Kessler for his return performance?
Well, you know, you have to rate him very, very high. I mean, considering what he had in front of him, he got the rounds and he got the work. and he went to the body beautifully. I give him a 10.
2 minutes and 25 seconds in round number 6. Our referee in charge, Manuel Marichalar, pulls a hold to the contest. The winner by technical knockout, the Viking Warrior, Mikkel Kessler.
So Mikkel Kessler with 3 knockdowns in this fight before it was stopped. 3rd round, 4th round, and the 6th round. He finally went downstairs to the body and stopped a very tough, determined Mehdi Bouadla. The Viking Warrior returns to the ring after the 14-month layoff. Impressive performance tonight in his hometown. He's out of the Super 6, but still a big factor at 168. And we'll have a post-fight report from Copenhagen coming up, followed by live coverage of our Super 6 semifinal between Carl Froch and Glenn Johnson. 33-year-old Englishman Carl Froch made his American TV debut on ShowBox 3 years ago, and since then, nobody in boxing has faced tougher opposition. Glenn Johnson is a former champion who in 2004 beat our Antonio Tarver, KO'd Roy Jones Jr., and won honors as Fighter of the Year. Johnson remains both dangerous and determined, and the Super 6 has given him one last chance to rejoin boxing's elite. Now here's Steve Farhood with post-fight reaction from Copenhagen.
First fight in 14 months. No cuts, a good win, everything was perfect. The most important question, how was your eye?
My eyes are perfect.
No problems at all?
No problem at all. And training up to this fight has gone perfectly, so I can't complain.
Now, you hit Bouadla with a lot of right hands. You want to show the effect?
Oh, yeah, I hit him a lot.
Is there nothing wrong with your hand, your fingers?
Fingers, no, it feels okay right now, but after a while, probably not tomorrow.
All right, you're back now at 168 pounds. You're a player again in the hot division. What about your future? We've heard about WBO champion Stieglitz. We've heard about Lucien Boutet. What would you like to do next?
Of course, I would like to fight a champ if I get the possibility. I'm ready for it. Come back after 14 months, and I'm ready for Stieglitz, Lucien Boutet, win of Super 6. As long as it's a world title fight. If it's possible for me, then I will be ready.
Mikkel, how difficult has it been for you to have to pull out of the tournament and now watch as it continues into the semifinals?
Oh, yeah. It's, of course, a dream broken for me, but still I followed the other guys, and they're doing a real good job in the ring, and I'm looking forward to see Froch against Johnson.
And tonight on Showtime, we'll see Froch Johnson. What do you think, and how do you pick that fight?
I think Froch's going to win. He's a hard fighter. I had a hard fight against him. Johnson is an awkward fighter, so he's going to get him hard work. I don't think we're going to see a really spectacular fight, but a very, very hard fight. But I think Froch's going to be the winner.
Okay, and just to confirm, your eye is good, and this hand,
my eyes,
no problem?
No problem.
Okay, Mikkel, thank you very much, and good luck in the future.
Thank you very much.
Back to Gus.
And thank you very much, Steve. So an impressive performance by Mikkel Kessler, and a healthy Mikkel Kessler. Now, the 168-pound super middleweight division could be the best division. It's definitely one of the best divisions in all of boxing. Now, looking ahead, Showtime Sports has a lot on tap in the coming months. Next weekend, ShowBox, the new generation, is back-to-back triple headers on consecutive nights from opposite coasts. Friday, June 10th, hard-hitting cruiserweight Latif Coyote takes on Matt Godfrey in the main event. Then Saturday, June 11th, it will be